what's up, YouTube investors? This is Steve from the Stock Market Shark YouTube channel. Guys, please allow me a moment. I'm going to talk about like real important stuff today, but for that, I need a cup of coffee. So let's get started. Today, I'm bringing into the focus Bakkt Holdings, the all-in-one platform for aggregating, converting, and monetizing digital assets. It's a very popular stock among retail investors, and it's a real paradise for day traders. Guys, today I want to demystify the Q4 earnings report of the company, and I want to tell you my honest opinion, what I think about Bakkt Holdings. Is this stock a buy, or you should definitely forget about it? So we are going to get into the details, but before we start, the usual ask to you guys, please make sure that you take this moment, smash the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell in order to support growing my wonderful traders community behind the Stock Market Shark channel and to be notified of any of my future updates. No more bullshit, just the essential data. So let's get started right away. A quick introduction for those of you guys who are not familiar with Bakkt Holdings. You can see on the screen one very important slide that depicts the operation of the company, what Bakkt Holding is about. So Bakkt Holding is an all-in-one digital asset platform that allows the customers to aggregate, convert, and spend digital assets of different types for everyday use in a very innovative and user-friendly way. So as you can see, guys, Bakkt is aimed to support all kinds of digital assets, from cryptos to in-game assets to rewards to cash to equities or other types like air miles. So basically miles that you can collect from different air companies. And on the platform, you can aggregate these assets. You can exchange them basically to real cash, and then you can pay them in store with them, purchase online, or redeem accordingly. So this is what Bakkt Holding is about. So I think that this is enough to basically start our discussion about the Q4 earnings report. So guys, I'm going to be completely honest with you in terms of my opinion on Bakkt Holdings, and probably my opinion is going to be hurtful for many of you who love the stock and who believe in that. But I'm not going to hype up a stock just because it's popular among retail investors. My opinion is going to be based on real data or real facts, and I'm also going to highlight the potential upside in the stock based on the future projections. So I'm going to try to be completely objective in this regards. So let's get started. Let's look into the numbers. So as you can guys see, this is the chart of Bakkt Holdings. The company is quite new on the stock market. It IPO'd just a few months before. The company IPO'd as part of a SPAC. SPACs are basically empty check entities who go public first, and only after that identify an acquisition target. In this case, the acquisition target was Bakkt Holdings. And this is a way to bring a company public in a cost-effective and fast manner. So this is where we are. And if you can see on the screen, there was a huge outbreak on the stock price just after the IPO. This was based on the news related to a cooperation between MasterCard and Bakkt Holdings. So basically, MasterCard is opening up its network to Bakkt Holdings. So Bakkt can enter partnership of different banks who are using the MasterCard platform and can inject the cryptos and digital assets into the conventional monetary network. So this can be a huge opportunity, and this opens up a massive total addressable market to Bakkt if they execute properly. So this is basically the skyrocketing rally that you can see here. And after that, the stock price collapsed basically, and since then it's going downwards. So this is where we are at the moment, and I have to say that Bakkt Holding became a paradise for day traders because of the high degree of volatility in the stock price. So I want to highlight a few things about the company first before we get into the Q4 numbers. So Bakkt Holding currently is a company with a market capitalization of 1.67 billion US dollars. I do think that this is relatively high compared to the numbers that the company produced in the last earnings report. And I also want to highlight another thing that I don't really like for stocks. This is the institutional ownership, which is currently at 34% for Bakkt Holdings. This means that the majority of the stock is owned by retail investors. And just to put this number into the context, another company that has similar degree of institutional ownership is Palantir. They have 30% institutional ownership, and when the majority of the stocks is in the hands of retail investors, that results that a lot of volatility can be brought into the market in turbulent times like the ones that we are living currently. So I don't really like this setup, but just said this was a side note. So it's up to you to decide if you would like to go in these types of stocks or not. It's not my plate, honest to be, but yeah, let's look into the numbers of the company first. So let's see where we are with the latest earnings report. So as said, the company has a market cap of 1.6 billion, and compared to this one, just look at the latest revenue that is produced by the company. It's in its Q4 earnings report. It's 13 million US dollars. So I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this revenue, if we talk about a public company, I think that we can honestly say that this is almost invisible. So a company that is producing only 30 million US dollars in a quarter, that is almost nothing. So that's invisible to investors. So that's where we are. And what's more concerning is that the company is producing increasing losses. So as you can see, in the previous quarter, in the Q3 2021, the losses were below 30 million US dollars. And in the recent quarter, they increased to above 153 million US dollars. So basically, the company is burning cash. The company has increasing cost, and that results that we don't really see the profitability and the margins of the company at the current stages. So this is where we are, and why I don't really believe in Bakkt anymore, and why I lost my trust in the company is the management's presentation that basically display totally different numbers compared to what we see currently. And I want to highlight a few gaps, a few differences. So in the management's projection, if we take a close look at it, we can see that the total revenue that has been estimated for 2021 was almost 1 billion US dollar, 1 billion. And this revenue would totally make this 1.6 billion market cap reasonable. But let's just compare the numbers. So almost 1 billion in revenue within 1 year, while the latest earnings report shows only 13 million. So this is 11.5 plus 2.2. So 30 million US dollars. There's a huge gap here, and that really, this is really concerning in terms of the execution of the company, if they are able to keep the projected track based on which the company has been valued initially. I think that this is basically raises some very important question marks. And also what's concerning to me, if we take a closer look at the number of transacting accounts that has been presented in the latest reports. So in Q4 2021, we had below 1 million transacting accounts. If we go back to the company's presentation to see what the company tried to sell as a management's projection. So basically they planned initially, or what they sold as information to the investors, they planned to follow a similar trajectory as Robinhood or Cash App, so basically an exponential growth in the number of users. So as you can see, by end of 2021, they expected almost 10 million active users. Basically, the numbers from the latest earnings report don't have any relation to this projection. So we are below 1 million. So basically, it's 10 times of this should have been presented in the earnings if the management would have executed as planned. So this is where we are. And if we take a very quick look at the cost structure of the company, we can see that what has been considerably increasing in the latest quarter is the share-based and the unit-based compensation. So this has been only 0.6 in Q3 2021, and in the last quarter it has been massively increasing. So we have to add up these two numbers, 44.5 and 33.9, and there's a massive increase in stock-based comp. So this company is basically following the same path as a lot of early growth stage companies. Like I have to compare it once again to Palantir and Coinbase and other like tech stocks that are heavily compensating using stock-based comp. And this is basically massively diluting the shareholders in the future. So this is where we are. And just another side to quickly highlight one more thing. So this is the breakdown of the revenues from the latest quarter. As you can see, we have two segments of the revenues. So we have subscription revenues and transaction revenues. I think it's good that in the transaction revenues we see a jump from the latest quarter. So in Q3 2021 there was a decrease, and transaction revenues should be a major driver of the revenue increase or the revenue growth. In this quarter we've seen that, so the transaction-based revenues almost doubled. But I have to highlight that this was due to the fact that Coinbase also had better performance. So my opinion is that the revenues of the company are heavily correlated with Bitcoin's performance. And I want to show you another fact that highlights this fact once again. So my opinion about Bakkt holding is that basically who is willing to take a bet on Bakkt is eventually betting on Bitcoin's mainstream adaptability. And I'm going to show you this one thing, guys. I'm going to show you this one thing because there's a very high correlation between Bakkt's price and Bitcoin's price performance. So eventually, if we're going to take a closer look to the Bakkt price, you will see that it performs exactly the same as Bitcoin's. So I'm going to come back in a second and show you this correlation. So here we go, guys. I put you into one chart the stock price of Bakkt holdings and also the price of Bitcoin US dollars. It seems like looking at exactly the same pattern on a different scale, but just look at it. So this is the below the yellow line is basically Bitcoin stock price, Bitcoin's price in US dollars. The above is Bakkt holdings price. Just take a look at it. So when Bakkt started to crash, Bitcoin started to crash, and when Bitcoin started to basically rise up again from 30,000, from the levels of 30,000 back to 45,000, Bakkt also started to basically increase in stock price. So if you are investing into Bakkt, you're investing almost into Bitcoin. There's almost a 1-to-1 correlation between the two assets. So that's why I say that I don't see any difference between investing into Bakkt and investing into Bitcoin. So you can pick any of them. You are running the same risk almost. So currently, it seems that the company is not really driven overall by the news, basically that relate to the company itself. It's not driven by the potential, but it's solely driven by the performance of the Bitcoin price. So this is where we are. So just imagine that if you're investing into Bakkt, you're investing into the adaptability and the future success of Bitcoin. So I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to put everything into one question. Is Bakkt holding a piece of poop packaged in a dream, or it is a dream packaged in a piece of poop? I leave you guys to decide this. I'm not saying that a Bakkt holding is currently a piece of poop, because basically the total addressable market, once again, is just enormous for the company. With the MasterCard partnership, as they are basically opening up the network, the entire MasterCard network to Bakkt, it can be a real success story if the company gets the proper number of partnership, they execute well, they are basically entering partnership with new and new banks. And we've seen news like that in the latest quarter. Just to give you one example, so there was a new partnership announced with Reliance Bank. Basically, Bakkt has been the preferred partner for Reliance Bank to basically open up digital assets and cryptos for their customers. So what they are saying, we are excited to partner with Reliance Bank and to bring crypto experience fit for the needs of their clients, said the chief revenue officer of Bakkt. Crypto has reached the masses, but many are still on the sidelines, unsure how to get started and looking for a convenient entry point from a relationship they already trust. Let me highlight this one here. So I'm talking about Discord. So this is it pretty much. So we have good news. We have new partnerships coming in, and basically the total addressable market can be basically captured if execution is proper. But I want to first see evidence. We are below the trajectory, the planned trajectory, and there's basically a loss of trust. I'm more conservative. I'm not taking risks because at the current stages, I think that basically investing into Bakkt is like buying a lottery. It's not a problem if someone buys a lottery, but we should be aware that this type of investment is a lottery. And how much would you pay for a lottery? You wouldn't pay all your investments, right? All your savings for a lottery ticket that can turn out to be a two-sided coin. So it's okay if you put some of your money, into Bakkt Holdings. But let's be honest, this is a super speculative investment at the moment. We are not sure first that Bakkt Holding is going to execute properly and they are going to be able to capture the total addressable market. The numbers in the earnings reports have no relation to the management's projections. The revenues of the company are currently invisible. 30 million US dollars per quarter. That's basically nothing. The multiples where the company is trading are super high. Let me just give you one example. So that can be only be valued on the price to sales ratio because this is the only positive metric of the company. And this is telling how much the investors are paying for 1 unit of sales of the company. And currently investors are paying a horrible high number, almost 130 US dollars for 1 unit of sales. Just put this into the context and compare this to the Coinbase price to sales ratio. Coinbase's price to sales ratio is below 5. So basically, investors are paying like a super crazy premium for the sales of this company. So the question is Bakkt Holding so much better than the average company in the sector? Because you can see the average price to sales in the sector is 3.25. Bakkt Holdings price to sales is 128. So there's a huge difference there, 3,800%. The question is Bakkt Holding so much better than the sector's average company? I don't think so that this is the case. I don't think so. So I'm a little bit skeptical seeing these numbers. I would be a little bit conservative. I would be a little bit cautious. I would wait till the company delivers some evidence that numbers are picking up. Currently, we don't see that. I'm not saying that there's no massive potential in Bakkt Holdings. I think that the potential, the total addressable market are very convincing, and the fact that they are basically have this super important background with a partnership with MasterCard, and they are also backed by one of the biggest stock exchange in the world. So they have ownership basically in the ICE stock exchange. I think that these are very promising, but I would be cautious. And if we play lottery, if I play lottery, I would only play lottery with a smaller amount of my capital because this is going to be very speculative. There will be better times to enter this stock later on. In my next video, I'm going to talk you guys, however, I made 30% profit with Bakkt Holdings within 1 day, but this is another story, and this is not based on the fundamentals of the company. This was pure day trading, but I want to show you my experience. So stay tuned, and in order to not miss this update of mine, press the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. It's super important for me. It's just 1 second for you. Let's grow our trading community together. Thank you very much for listening to my video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you find it useful. I will be back very soon. Till then, have a wonderful Monday. See you soon. Bye.